fresh water remains abundant elsewhere on the island, welling up from the ground to fill natural rock basins. Bahrain is surrounded by the salt waters of the Gulf. The sea is absorbed into the limestone bedrock of the island and percolates upward in a natural filtration process. The result is the most wonderful of all things in the desert, a miracle, an oasis. If we are to believe Genesis, then Adam and Eve must have frolicked in just such a place. Perhaps we have found the fourth river, which the Bible says takes us to Eden. It may very well be the great river flowing beneath Bahrain. Where there is water in Bahrain, the desert explodes with life and color. If we take Genesis as a mixture of revelation and allegory, then it is likely the author had a real place in mind when he described Eden. He might have been familiar with the Sumerian legend of the semi-divine king named Gilgamesh. In search of immortality, Gilgamesh travels to the land of Dilmun. There, Gilgamesh learns that he must pursue the flower of immortality, which is found at the bottom of the sea. By eating the flower, Gilgamesh will become immortal. The story doesn't end happily. A serpent appears, steals the flower, and eats it. Man's old adversary once again robs him of everlasting life. The biblical similarities are obvious. There is more, however. The flower of immortality at the bottom of the sea could be a figure of speech for the pearls Bahrain is famous for. The ancient inhabitants of Bahrain had a peculiar custom. In their burial mounds, they placed a basket. Inside the basket, they placed a snake and a symbolic pearl. On Bahrain, as in Genesis, the garden gives way to desert. Few creatures willingly leave the oasis to take their chances in the wilderness just beyond the last blade of grass. Adam and Eve had a choice. They chose knowledge instead of life and were cast out. Mankind's prospects seemed bleak as the interior of Bahrain. If there's a single lesson to be learned from the great faiths, however, perhaps it is hope. The tree of life may not be lost forever. In one last astonishing parallel to the biblical Eden, we find a great tree growing in the Bahrain waste. It seems to thrive where nothing else can. Its shade beckons across the sun-hazed desert floor. Few of the people who live on this island have ever heard of the Garden of Eden, yet they call this the Tree of Life. If we never again achieve the garden, it will certainly not be because we lost our way in our dreams. There is intense curiosity among a handful of scholars and scientists who know that the real story of Bahrain hasn't been told. Money for archaeological work is always scarce, and what there is of it is more likely to be spent on glamour digs in Egypt. Those who work here do so out of deep commitment. Piecing together a lost civilization is not as easy as piecing together a pot. Time may be running out. Saudi Arabia plans to build a causeway from the mainland to Bahrain. It will cut through thousands of Dilmun burial mounds. It would be tragic to lose the Garden of Eden a second time. Lost civilizations, extraterrestrials, myths and monsters, missing persons, magic and witchcraft, unexplained phenomena. In search of cameras are traveling the world, seeking out these great mysteries. This program was the result of the work of scientists, researchers, and a group of highly skilled technicians.